Ramadan is just around the corner, and so I think it's important that we run through what a regular day will look like for each and every one of us, inshallah ta'ala. What I'd like to talk about is just 7 simple points. Number 1, making your intention to go to the masjid. Number 2, coming here and parking. Number 3, eating iftar if you come for iftar. Number 4, going and then making wudu. Number 5, coming in and entering the musalla. Number 6, praying. And then number 7, listening to the nightly talks. So this is going to be the schedule for many of us, hopefully, inshallah, all of us. And so it's important that we examine each of these steps and try to rectify them to the best of our ability. Number 1, before you go to the masjid, what is your intent? Before you do anything, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches us to be mindful, to get in the right headspace, to make your intention right. This is something that is crucial for the believer. They are always present in the moment and thinking about what am I doing and why am I doing it. We do not want to get in the habit of being people who are on autopilot, just going through the motions. And so, before you actually get up and come to the masjid, ask yourself, is this for the sake of Allah? Or am I just doing this to keep up appearances? I mean, everybody's going to be there with their kids and they expect me to be there. It would be embarrassing if I'm not there on the first night of Ramadan. What is the intent? Do you just want to keep up appearances? Do you just want to socialize and see people and spend time with them? Or perhaps you just want to talk to people about business. Many people, unfortunately, they come to the masjid to socialize just to have fun, or to socialize and talk about what? How to make a profit, how to make some money. The Prophet ﷺ told us, إِذَا رَأَيْتُمْ مَنْ يَبِيعُ أَوْ يَبْتَاعُ فِي الْمَسْجِدِ فَقُولُوا لَا أَرْبَحَ اللَّهُ تِجَارَتَكَ. When you see somebody selling or buying in the masjid, specifically the musalla area, then tell them, may Allah not profit your business. SubhanAllah. Can you imagine somebody coming up to you, hearing you, coming into the musalla? You're supposed to be doing what? I'm here for the sake of Allah. I came here for forgiveness. I came here for guidance. I came here so I can get closer to my Lord. And instead, you're talking business. Going outside into that area, once you're done with worship, once you're done with reciting, once you're done with dua, if you go out into the lounge area, no problem. Talk about whatever you want. But when you come into the musalla area, you're supposed to have a certain attitude. You're supposed to come in here with a certain humility. You're supposed to be thinking about Allah and not thinking about the dunya. Can you imagine a person comes in and all they're thinking about is, I got to talk to that guy and I can make a good deal. And hey brother, I know you got to pray your salah, but maybe we can you imagine someone leaning over and saying, may Allah ta'ala destroy your business transaction? You would be so shocked. SubhanAllah, this is what the hadith tells us. That's an authentic hadith as well. So, have your intention by making your schedule. Your schedule can be for the whole month. As in, what do I expect to accomplish this month? In this month of Ramadan, will I complete the Quran? Will I be reading every day? Will I go through it in English or in Arabic? Will I listen to a certain set of lectures? And also, before you come to the masjid, don't just come out of habit. Make your intent on a daily basis. Before you even get into the car, what is my goal tonight? Am I praying just Isha and then leaving? Am I praying 4 rak'ah? Am I going to pray 8? Am I going to pray 20? Am I going to sit in dua for at least 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, 20? Am I going to read a certain amount of Quran? Should I go over 1 juz? Should I go over more than that? Make a certain intention for yourself. Why? Because even if you are not able to accomplish your intent, subhanAllah, Allah Ta'ala in His infinite mercy will give you the reward despite the fact that you didn't hit your mark. So make the intent. It doesn't cost you anything. It takes just a moment. But before you actually turn the ignition, before you get in the car and start moving, make your intent, get yourself in the right headspace, and remember why you're going. Do not allow this to be something that is purely habitual. Allah Ta'ala tells us, إِن يَعْلَمِ اللَّهُ فِي قُلُوبِكُمْ خَيْرًا يُؤْتِكُمْ خَيْرًا. If Allah knows any good in your hearts, He's going to give you something better. Some people, they go through the whole month of Ramadan, and it's all just going through the motions. It's all just culture. Maybe Allah Ta'ala didn't find anything good in their hearts, so they got nothing good out of it. But before you even show up, if your intent, if your heart is in the right place, because you asked Allah for forgiveness, because you were asking for guidance, because you want to get closer to Him, because you wanted more blessings, because you wanted paradise, subhanAllah, it could be the case that you're given what you wanted and even more. Why? Because Allah sees goodness in your heart, so He's going to give you what? Khairah, even better than that. So that's your intent before going. Then you come all the way over here, inshallah ta'ala, what happens next? You have to park. Subhanallah. You know, we've been talking about this for a while, but it's an important reminder that we have space. It's called the Launch Fishers parking lot. You guys can take a look on your phones, find out where it is, and park there, and it's a 2.5-minute walk. It's a 2.5-minute walk that you can make. Why? To make things easier on your brothers and sisters who are showing up late and need a spot. Or for those who are perhaps more elderly. There's nothing difficult about parking just a little bit further away and being able to walk this beautiful little path that we've just built. I'm sure you can all see it through the window. There's a nice little, bridge, mashallah. So you can walk that. Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ tells us, بَشِّرِ الْمَشَّائِينَ فِي الظُّلَمِ إِلَى الْمَسْجِدِ بِالنُّورِ التَّامِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. That the Prophet ﷺ tells us, in an authentic hadith, give glad tidings to those who walk to the masajid, who walk to the mosques in darkness. They're going to have what? A perfect light on Judgment Day. The fact that you decided to walk during the nighttime, because there is some discomfort in that, because there is some difficulty in that, you are going to have the most bright light on Judgment Day. Can you imagine each night of Ramadan? You're coming for Maghrib or for Taraweeh, Isha, and because of your sincere intention to make things easier for your brothers, and because of your sincere intention to take those steps for the sake of Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you this light on Yawm al-Qiyamah. And imagine, when you help out your brother, Allah Ta'ala helps you. Allah Ta'ala commands, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِذَا قِيلَ لَكُمْ تَفَسَّحُوا فِي الْمَجَالِسِ فَافْسَحُوا يَفْسَحِ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ. O you who have believed, when you are told, space yourselves out in an assembly, then make space and Allah will make space for you. When you are told, listen, things are cramped, can you make some space? You know, the parking lot's full. Do you think you could park a little earlier over there, make some space for your brother? Allah's going to make space for you. What does that mean? Many different interpretations. Ibn Ashur says, making space for you implies in your rizq, in your wealth, Allah's going to make it ample. Another interpretation is what? Making space for you because Allah describes paradise as the width of which is the heavens and the earth. So He's going to make space for you in paradise. You can look at it from multiple perspectives. Allah's going to give sharh al-sadr, expanding of the chest so your heart embraces iman. There's so many ways that Allah can expand things for you. Expand things for your brother. Make some space, inshallah ta'ala. So we haven't even gotten to the masjid yet. We just made our intentions at home. And that just takes a thought. It doesn't take time and money. No, just thinking. How am I coming to the masjid? Get in your car, drive here. Maybe park a little bit further. Give a little bit of space for your brothers and sisters. And then you come here, let's say, for iftar. Iftar. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْإِفْطَارِ. Subhanallah. What is this iftar? We know, unfortunately, year after year, when you are living in an affluent, comfortable society, people tend to become quite wasteful. They take things for granted. They feel entitled. And because of that, they think, no problem, I'll take a few bites and throw the rest away. It's just a few grains of rice, it's just some meat, it's just some this, that, whatever, no problem. And then subhanAllah, night after night, we are filling up garbage bags full of perfectly edible food. Meanwhile, we have brothers and sisters around the world who are starving, literally. And subhanAllah, you don't even have to look around the world. You could say even within this country, even within this city, there are people who are hungry. And we are feasting and then throwing away excess food and teaching our kids to do so. Because they're watching and downloading and recording everything that we're doing. They don't get these habits from nowhere. Meanwhile, the whole reason that we came to the masjid was for what purpose? To get closer to Allah, to earn the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And yet Allah ta'ala tells us very plainly, very clearly, Kulu washrabu wa la tusrifu innahu la yuhibbul musrifin. Eat and drink and do not be wasteful because He does not love those who are wasteful. Allah does not love the wasteful. Can you imagine spending the month of Ramadan trying so hard, standing in prayer, fasting during the day, praying during the night, memorizing the Quran, and you're thinking, I hope, and I'm wishing, and I'm praying, and I'm asking Allah, Ya Allah, I want to be of those who you love. And Allah Ta'ala responds, I sent you the wahi, I sent you the revelation, which told you, I don't love people who are wasteful. I don't love people who are wasteful. So when you come to the masjid, night after night, or you go to people's homes, and there's so much food on the plate, oh yeah, I think I'm a bit full, and you dump the whole thing in the garbage. It could be the case that you just ruined your chances, and the rest of your night, Allah knows. I'm not in charge. Allah Ta'ala knows how He judges. I'm simply saying, be careful. What a waste. not only of the food, but of your chance for ajr. What a waste of your opportunity for maghfirah, forgiveness and mercy. And let's keep in mind as well that once you're done eating, you have to clean up. And unfortunately, there are many people who they leave a gigantic mess. And I'm sure we've all seen it. This is a big masjid. We have more and more people coming all the time. This community is growing. Alhamdulillah, it's a blessing. But when people are just a little bit nasty, a little bit dirty, a little bit messy, in the aggregate, it builds up. And it compiles, and it gets really gross. And we know, Allah Ta'ala says, إِنَّمَا يَعْمُرُ مَسَاجِدَ اللَّهِ مَنْ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ. The masajid are maintained by those who believe in Allah and the last day. So as long as you can clean up and maintain and build and keep clean the masajid, this is a testimony of your true faith. What you want is that you are counted as the believers, right? You want to be counted as truly somebody who believes in Allah. Well, what is the evidence of that? That you put in some effort, whether it's spending some time or spending some money. To what? To clean up and to make sure that the masajid are clean. As-Samura radhiallahu anhu, he said what? Inna Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam kana ya'muruna bil masajidi an نصنعها في ديارنا ونصلح صنعتها ونطهرها. The Messenger of Allah ﷺ used to command us to build our masajid in our localities and to fix them up, to maintain them and to clean them. This is part of our deen. We are supposed to be people of cleanliness. We are supposed to be keeping our masajid beautiful. We are not supposed to be leaving water bottles or food or trash or dragging in all sorts of nastiness into the masjid. Aisha radhiallahu anha, she says what? Amara Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam bi bina'i al-masajidi fi ad-dur. That the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam commanded us to build our masajid in different localities. And what else? Wa an tunazzafa wa tutayyab. And to clean, that they should be cleaned and they should be perfumed. They should smell good. We know that the sense of smell is closely linked with memory. In fact, more so than any of the other senses. Young kids are running around and what they smell, that's going to be reminiscent. Oh, I remember the masjid. I remember the way it smelled. I remember the feeling that I had. The sense of smell is very connected with one's memory. And so if we're creating childhood memories for our kids, or even for ourselves, we're creating these memories that are going to last years. Do you really want to associate the masjid with something that smells like it's rotting, that is gross? Or would you rather make it beautiful? Make sure that it smells great in here. As we know, Ibn Umar, anhu, he narrates that his father, Umar ibn al-Khattab anhu, when he was a khalifa, when he was in charge, أن عمر كان يجمر مسجد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم كل جمعة. That Umar anhu, he would put incense every single Jum'ah. They still maintain this in the Middle East. You know, subhanAllah, you see people walking around and they're burning the incense. So since the time of Umar, they would burn some incense, make sure that the masajid smell good. Make sure that when you walk in, you have that positive feeling. So we should have that sense as well. So what have we done so far? We had our intention, we drove here, we parked, we ate some food, we cleaned up after ourselves, and then it's time to what? Usually wash up and then go to pray. And inshallah we'll talk about that in the second khutbah. Wa sallallahu alayhi wa Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam kathira. Bismillah walhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Then comes the matter of wudu. And again, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْوُضُوء. What can tell you what wudu is? Subhanallah. It gets frustrating. Week after week, people coming up to me and making complaints. Brother, can you tell people how to make wudu? If I give a khutbah about how to wash and then how to, subhanallah, this is something that your parents are supposed to teach you. This is some basic stuff. Furthermore, brother, can you give a khutbah about the bathrooms? How people leave all sorts of najasa all over the stalls. And then other people will walk in to these stalls, not with the slippers, but rather with their socks, soaking up every step, all of the filth on the floor. And then after they're done wudu, they take those same socks and they walk into the musalla area and they walk all over the carpet. Brother, some people, they're very paranoid and very afraid that, subhanAllah, this is disgusting. But they're not wrong. We should be clean. We should be people of cleanliness. Wudu is a beautiful act that is supposed to purify you before your Lord. You are not supposed to be making a mess of the bathrooms and the wudu area, especially when we have so many people that we need to service. We can't be making the place disgusting. Please teach your children how to go to the bathroom so that everything lands inside where it's supposed to land. It's not supposed to be all over, which is so sad that we have cleaners that come and maintain the place. And yet, subhanAllah, even when you go, you find that despite the fact that it's being cleaned regularly, it's still filthy. Who's going in there and making such a mess? We have to ask ourselves these basic questions. The Prophet says what? مَنْ تَوَضَّأَ فَأَحْسَنَ الْوُضُوء خَرَجَتْ خَطَايَاهُ مِنْ جَسَدِهِ حَتَّى تَخْرُجَ مِنْ تَحْتِ أَظْفَارِهِ. That whoever makes wudu and he does ihsan, he perfects it, he has intent, he is taking his time, he's making sure he's doing it sincerely, beautifully, getting each part that he needs to. When you have that, making wudu something that is connecting you to your Lord, what is the result? Then subhanAllah, this person's sins are going to start washing off of his body, dripping off of his body, to the point that even coming out from under his fingernails, that all the sins will be just dripping off. This is how we want to make wudu. After we've come to the masjid, had our iftar, wash up. Now that you've made proper wudu, you didn't make a mess of the place, rather you washed yourself properly. Now you enter into the musalla. Let's think about what is the etiquette of walking into the musalla. The Prophet ﷺ says something, and if you don't get anything else, please remember this. Sunan Abi Dawud, Sahih Hadith, authentic. لا يزال قوم يتأخرون عن الصف الأول حتى يؤخرهم الله في النار. The Prophet says, the people will continue to keep themselves away from the front row until Allah will keep pushing them back, all the way into the fire. Subhanallah, that sounds rough. Yes. Why? Because there are people who, they come here, but their body language is speaking volumes. Their body language is sending a message. What is the message? Yes, I'm here, but I don't want to be. I walked into the musalla, but I was forced to be here. My parents brought me here. It's just because my friends are here. It's just because it's out of habit. You know what I'll do? I'll sit against the wall. I'll sit at the back. I'll be close to the door. I don't really feel like being here. Where's the enthusiasm? You don't think Allah Ta'ala can read your hearts? You don't think Allah Ta'ala knows what your body language is saying? When a person walks in and they have a smile and they're excited and they walk with that enthusiasm and they sit in the front and they pay close attention. Why? Because they know Allah is Al-Hadi. Allah Ta'ala is the guide, the ultimate guide. And so you say, Ya Allah, I'm here. I'm here ready to listen and to learn and to pay attention so I can benefit, so I can be guided. Because they are sincere when they say, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim, guide us upon the straight path. Ya Allah, I want that guidance. Don't you think that person has a little more enthusiasm? Don't you think they walk to the front and make sure there are no gaps and they try to get close because they want to get closer to Allah? Don't you think your body language is speaking volumes? I promise you it is. It is very obvious. It is very clear when you see someone thinks that they're too cool for the masjid and they're kind of sitting in the back ready to go. It's not really my place. Yallah, go. You think Allah Ta'ala needs you? Allah is going to replace you. This is what Allah Ta'ala promises. You don't want it? يَسْتَبْدِلْ قَوْمًا غَيْرَكُمْ ثُمَّ لَا يَكُونُ أَمْثَالَكُمْ. You don't want to be here? Fine. You want to get further in the back? I don't want to be seen here. I don't like being here. I want to go. Allah is saying you go all the way to the fire. No problem. Figure out what your intention is. Do you want to be here? Act like it. Come to the front. Pay attention. Focus. And what should you do? When you come in, you should pray 2 rak'ah. Tahiyyatul masjid. You should pray 2 rak'ah, ask for guidance. Even before the salah has started. Even before you sit down, you pray 2 rak'ah. Even if the imam is giving a talk, yes. Because I say so? No. Because the Prophet ﷺ tells us, إِذَا جَاءَ أَحَدُكُمْ يَوْمَ الْجُمْعَةِ وَالْإِمَامُ يَخْطُبْ فَلْيَرْكَعْ رَكْعَتَيْنِ وَلْيَتَجَوَّزْ فِيهِمَا. The Prophet says, Sahih Muslim, authentic hadith, when any one of you comes in on Friday, even while the imam is giving his khutbah, he should observe 2 rak'ah, but he should make it short. This is how important it is to do your rak'atain. Even if the imam is speaking, walk in here and offer your salah. So that's how you walk in. You walk in, first of all, to the front, as close as you can. Fill in the gaps. Show enthusiasm. You know, labbaik Allahumma labbaik. Ya Allah, I'm here for you. Have that attitude. Pray your 2 rak'ah. And then when you pray, point number 6, is when you pray, focus on the words. Focus on what is being said. And if you can't, then you should read the translation before you come in for that juz. We do 1 juz a night, about 20 pages a night. Take a look at the translation. Find out what the imam is reciting. So that night you can focus in your salah. You can actually be benefiting from the qira'ah. Stay alert and avoid what? Avoid leaning and yawning and looking bored and tired. As the Prophet says, التثاؤب في الصلاة من الشيطان فإذا تثاءب أحدكم فليكظم ما استطاع. Yawning in prayer is from shaitan, so when one of you yawns, try to suppress it as much as possible. Unfortunately, during the salah, I get people that come up to me, lots of complaints. I'm trying to compile all the complaints I get in one khutbah, inshallah. Because I know everybody's saying before Ramadan, you have to mention, don't waste food, mention the parking. Please, before Ramadan, mention that they wash themselves properly, that they fill in the gaps. Please mention, don't let their kids, tell them, listen, we have a room for the children. If your kids cannot be controlled, then don't worry, we have a room and a space for them. And even worse, if the kids had a button that you could press and that would shut them off, then that would be a lot easier, right? But they don't. But guess what does have a button? Your phone. And yet, you know what makes even more noise than the kids? The phones. That actually does have a button. Subhanallah. Very bizarre how often the phones are going off. Very bizarre how often you have people that are letting their kids run around. You could just simply take them. And how often, subhanAllah, I don't understand why so often people are coming up to me and saying, brother, can you please mention to cover your awrah? Every time I make a ruku', all I see is too much. A'udhu billah, what's going on? Nobody knows how to wear pants? You don't know how many times I get this complaint. It's frankly, it's embarrassing. Brothers, please, dress properly where your body is covered, actually. I'm mentioning it. To everybody who asks me mention it, I'm mentioning it. I don't know if anybody's listening, but I'm mentioning it. Point number 7, last point inshallah ta'ala, before I go on too long. The nightly talks. And this applies both to the khutbah, when you're giving the lecture, as well as the nightly talks when I'm giving a talk as well, inshallah. Hopefully each night something short, as a reminder. People, unfortunately, take a very long time to be quiet. Every single night, okay, everybody, can you be quiet? Talking. Okay, can you be quiet? Can you be quiet? 5 minutes go by, and people are still talking. Allah Ta'ala tells us about the mushrikeen, the Quraysh. Allah Ta'ala tells us, وَمَنْ أَظْلَمْ مِمَّنْ مَنَعَ مَسَاجِدَ اللَّهِ أَنْ يُذْكَرَ فِيهَا اسْمُهُ وَسَعَى فِي خَرَابِهَا. Allah Ta'ala says, and who is more unjust than those who prevent the name of Allah from being mentioned in the masajid, and they strive towards its destruction. Now, I'm not accusing anybody here of being that bad. I don't think anybody here is at the level where they're trying to prevent people from praying, where they're trying to literally destroy and bulldoze and bomb the masajid like some people are doing overseas. May Allah Ta'ala protect them. However, there is an element of that quality. When someone comes here trying to remember the name of Allah, trying to remember a good reminder, and you continuously talk so loud they can't hear. Almost every time I hear from the sisters, oh, I didn't hear your lecture. I can't hear anything up there. I can't hear anything up there. Over and over again. What did you think about the lecture? I didn't hear anything. I couldn't. They just talk too much. Too much chatter. Can't hear a single word. So am I saying that you're as bad as the Quraysh trying to prevent people from the masajid? No, of course not. You're not that bad. But are you stopping people from the remembrance of Allah? Yeah, to a degree. There's a certain connective tissue over here. And that's dangerous. وَخَرَابِهَا, and its destruction. Are you trying to destroy this masjid? No. But when you leave junk and you make it a mess, do you have an element of that? Unfortunately, yes. There's an element of that. A'udhu billah, may Allah protect us. So yes, please understand that when the lecture is happening, whether it's for Jum'ah or in any halaqah, you can, if you're not interested, you can go outside. We have a beautiful lounge area. Enjoy that talk. And if you're going to stay here and talk, at least understand, I'm not a movie. You guys know that, right? Like, it's very bizarre when I go up to people after the talk and I say, I saw you talking. I saw you on your phone. You see me? Yes, you're right in front of me. The same way you see me, I see you. Are you joking? People think that everything is just on their phones and everything is, subhanAllah. It's very bizarre how we've been so detached. We don't think people are actually there or real. Yes, I can see it. Others can see you. You're not that hidden. So please, pay attention to the message each night, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And if you do get loud, if you do make so much noise that you are preventing others from hearing, I want to remind you of an interesting incident at the time, again, of the Khilafah of Umar ibn al-Khattab anhu, when he heard people being loud in the masjid. He went up to he had these two men brought to him, saw them being very loud in the masjid. Again, not in the basketball area, not in the lounge area. I'm talking about specifically the sanctuary of the musalla, the idea that this place is a sacred space. You're supposed to respect it. He saw people being loud in this space. What does he say? قال من أنتما? He says, who are you guys? Or he says, من أين أنتما? Where are you guys from? قال, and they say in response, من أهل الطائف. We came from Taif. We're from a different city. قال لو كنتما من أهل البلد لأوجعتكما ترفعان أصواتكما في مسجد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. He said, had you been from here, had you been from Medina, I would have punished you for raising your voices in the masjid of the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم. So, this is how serious it was. This is how much respect. He was telling them, you guys are acting, very jahil. You guys are acting very ignorant, getting real loud in the musalla area. But you're foreigners. That's okay. I'll let it slide. So, do I expect anybody to punish others? No, please don't punish anybody. But what I am suggesting is, if you see somebody from a non-regular, somebody who's from out of town, you can give them a pass. Let them know, hey brother, can you just be a little bit quiet? If you see somebody who's regular and you see their face every time, please go up to them and say, brother, you know better. You know better. You're a regular here. You're not supposed to be yelling, being ignorant and loud in the musalla area. So in conclusion, the Prophet tells us, من صام رمضان إيمانا واحتسابا غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه. Whoever fasts the month of Ramadan, having sincere faith and having sincere hope and expectation in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's reward, then all of their previous sins will be expiated. So we want to be people who don't just fast out of habit. We don't pray tarawih out of habit. We do not go through this month out of habit. Rather, we are imanan wa ihtisaban. We have full hope in Allah ta'ala. We have full faith in Allah ta'ala. And we're going through this month, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. If Allah gives us the life to do so, we go through this month sincerely, making proper intentions. Ya Allah, fix our intention when coming to the masjid so that we are not coming for any other reason but for forgiveness and guidance and to get closer to you. Ya Allah, help us to be good neighbors who drive properly and who park properly in a way that does not disturb our community, rather in a way that gives room to our brothers and sisters. Ya Allah, help us to not waste any food. Ya Allah, help us to not waste any food. Allahumma la taj'alna min al-musrifin. Oh Allah, don't make us from amongst the wasteful, those who you do not love. And help us to clean up after ourselves and make the masajid beautiful and clean and shining and smelling great. Ya Allah, help us to make wudu in a beautiful way with ihsan, so we purify ourselves and avoid all najasa and impurities. Ya Allah, help us to enter the musalla with the right way, in the right way, rectifying our intentions, coming ready to worship, enthusiastically, right to the front, ready to listen with a mindful heart. Ya Allah, when we pray, give us ikhlas and sincerity, give us khushu' and humility. Ya Allah, allow us to pray during this entire month sincerely to you, benefiting from the Quran and its guidance. Ya Allah, allow us to listen to these lectures, whether it be in Jum'ah or in the nightly talks, listening quietly, ready to learn and apply whatever guidance that you provide to us. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Allahumma hadina fi man hadayt, wa aafina fi man aafayt, wa tawallana fi man tawallayt, wa barik lana fi ma a'tayt, wa qina sharra ma qadayt, fa innaka taqdi wa la yuqda alayk, innahu la yadhillu man walayt, wa la ya'izzu man 'adayt, tabarakta rabbana wa ta'alayt. Rabbana atina fi dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina 'adhaban nar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi sallam tasliman kathira wa aqim as-salah.